Alright, people, it's not going to be quick, but I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible, so I'm just going to get right into this here. And I'm sorry for my voice here. It's probably because I got a little cold here. I'm so sorry. This one is going to be called, this is your Qrystal clearance, C or Q, and Power Stone, and your capstone, I say that loosely, stone, of knowledge. And if you are looking at what I've got up here, you'll see the little dot at the bottom crosses on the center zenith there, the center dot. So, and or your of knowledge, and or as to what is happening currently today. The other title that I actually ended up giving this one, and or shorter title, or the title that actually, the shorter title you could end up giving this one as well, is what I called, this is your Excalibur 2, or Excalibur 2 of knowledge. And I'll explain a little bit more about what that means just shortly here. Alright, this next one I actually entitled Hidden. The one I got up here now is called Hidden. Underneath that I have hidden in the middle with clandestinal, what would probably be more accurately put as bad intentions for the true American people. I have against the true American people, as always. One thing I don't have up there is the middle is where these perpetrators, these perps that have done all this to this country, which is, as I mentioned before already, is the Franks. They come from Franconia, and originally God knows where, but I only traced them back to Egypt. It's gypsies, grifters, drifters, con men, con women, actors, actresses, and all that stuff. That's where they exist. They try to stay hidden or clandestine, could say. In the middle, and what they do is they exist right there without you knowing. When two end users, let's say if I call somebody, they could sit there in the middle as long as they have enough of both sides' voice samples done. They could redigitize them in the middle. You could say, "Hi, how are you? How's your day going? I can't wait to see you." Come out the other end is something very vulgar and very despicable and grotesque. Then you'd get hung up on. And they sit in the middle and laugh. Not anymore. So, that's what I mean by that up there. Alright, so continuing on, as this presentation kind of continues on where the previous one, your golden Excalibur of knowledge ends, or what I also referred to as Excalibur 1, at least in this series of mine here. And again, all this is based on, you know, my actual true experiences and witnessing and just true experienced unwanted, you know, treatment or tricks upon myself and or my family. Makes you wonder what their favorite holiday is, right? You guessed it, it's Halloween. Because whether you guess the trick or the treat, if you're one of the true American people, which they are secretly, were and or are secretly warring on at the moment, or as of recently, pretty much going to end up with the wrong end of the deal. So this presentation is also an extension and completion of the information that one should know to defend and shield themselves. I may have to do a separate one on that, people, on your social security card, because it's your security shield or your social insurance, so you can be social and not have to worry about. I'll get into that then, because otherwise I'll just keep talking forever. But it also has to do with a little bank account of yours, if not a particular signing privilege you have for pretty much within reason just about whatever you need and or want for that matter. But guess who's keeping that stolen, perceptually stolen, and has been abusing for the past so many years? I just mentioned them. And claim what is lawfully due. And I just went over that. So these words are, if you want to throw that S back up top there, or at the beginning, or the sword of information completes a two-sword arming of knowledge upon yourself, besides your golden Excalibur. Again, that's Excalibur 1 that I included in this series. This is what I call your royal Excalibur. And you'll get that shortly here too, people, because believe it or not, you don't have to call yourself this or not, but if you were born in this country and you have not committed anything warring or less than sincere or against this country, you are American royalty, people. So this is your royal Excalibur of knowledge as to what is really going on today, or as I mentioned just a little while ago, Excalibur 2, your Excalibur 2 of knowledge. If you have found and are viewing this, that's just from me. I just wanted to say to you what should be in parentheses there, but a very well done. All right, so on this next one I have up here is, may I have a few words? And you already know why I kind of do that one in red. Anyway, I have underneath it, please. There's a longer story to this, and it's probably worth getting into, but people, because of the American people, you are a principal resident of this country. So a principal or a president, basically, everybody is a president, a principal resident, is a president. We do have a chief executive officer who handles the more international sides of things, the big deals with other countries and things like that. But for, the true American people, people does stand for, and this is more on your business side, which falls under the estates, states, enterprise states. This is what they don't want you to know, what they've stolen, or stolen the use of, I should say is more accurately, but pretty much your life or your lifestyle. But you are a principal executive officer of this country. It means you're in charge of everything that involves you, and nobody, not somebody named nobody, I mean nobody is supposed to be able to tell you different. So you are a principal executive officer, people, PLE, per laws eternal. That's what people means. And people usually don't get that. I have a please up here, kind of inquisitively, if I can use that word. separated because this is just me, but it's per laws eternal and statutes echoed. Why do I have in statutes echoed? First of all, statutes are not laws, they are code for these perps, but you can use them as courtesy references. What I have found, and it usually exists at the bottom of the paragraphs or the whichever statutes it is or the titles or whatever, at the bottom, so it's an easy add-on in the next edition, you know what I mean? So not all the laws, there's only really 3, but per laws eternal, and statutes echoed. One more thing about statutes, they're opinions by other judges. You're a judge as well, you don't know that, but you are. They're opinions. They're not laws, but they're codes mainly for these perps who use them just like that. So the reason why I have and statutes echoed is because it is the kind of clear overlay, crystal clear overlay that you can put on top of that, and you'll be able to see every single one that's been added on, added in, whatever. But there's a lot more that goes into that. I'm not going to get into it right now, but there's a way that you can tell that. And they usually exist as I call them fire escapes at the bottom of each one of those that I mentioned, of the statute or the title of it or the paragraph or whatever. So even if they're convicted, they have a way out later or in the same process or the same hearing or whatever. Be careful of that word too, people. Hearing. You're going to hear things like hearing masters and things like that, so don't fall for it. I can get into the court thing also. It's a nice big theater, but I'll get into that later. All right, so I have up here DC in this scenario. Truth, decapitated, capstone, the brightest top part of a structure, one's head, holds one's eyes, brain, which receives and stores knowledge, ears, nose, mouth, etc. Next one's kinds of DC. I think you already know one. That's the third one I'm going to mention here. Removing a pyramid's top. A pyramid, people, I mean, depending on, can be 3-sided, 4-sided, whatever, but the top is also called its capstone. That has a lot to do with what this particular presentation is titled. Okay, but trust me, your head is not a stone. It's farthest from it. Anyway, the second one is removing someone's, I just spell it out here, H, you can figure the other letter out, A-D. That's what I refer to in here as DC'd. The third one indicates the District of Columbia. I don't know if you know this or not either, but the district is actually a very bad word. It's a very evil word. If you want to look up a fictional demigod called Demeter, they'll usually give, if you go to certain camps or whatever, they'll give you a Demeter. You get 3 Demeters, you got to go home or whatever. Or whatever the rules are for that. Kind of makes you wonder where they get it. Okay? So that's District of Columbia. And I have underneath there, whether it be an act, and I think you already know what is involved with that nowadays, an act, actual place, that I have these underlined in red, that, by the way, cannot even vote or not. Most people don't know this either, people, but Washington, D.C. and or a supposed representationist or representative, they're not allowed to, as you and I know officially, you and I don't both know to what it would mean, they cannot vote. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on with that and what they're trying to do, impersonating, being some kind of, because they're not really supposed to do any kind of ruling except outside of what is known today as Washington, D.C. Just look that up. You'll probably have to look up, I think it's an act, that's why I said act, I believe it's 1871. Just look that up and then keep that in mind. It's supposed to be meant for only, armory magazines and battery storage and all that stuff. Batteries and other bad words, loose word that I can get into later. Removal of one's, I think I covered that already, didn't I? Yeah, but anyway, we're going just through these words individually here. Removal of someone's, and this, I mean to put it in here twice because of the capstone thing. Removal of someone's H blank AD. You can figure out the other letter. Besides the literal removal of someone's H blank AD, withholding information from those that are due that information generationally. That means slowly, so that the new generation coming up won't notice it. That generation after that won't notice it or may not have even heard of it. And that's the way they've been doing it. Why? Well, that's obvious, and I've covered that many times before this presentation. It's to try and, they call it a color revolution, but it's to silently, unnoticingly, clandestinely take over this country. That's just not gonna happen. All right, people, I'm going to have to try to, I'm so sorry, but I have to try to pick this up a little bit because all these have been running a little long, and it causes me to have to, on particular, should I use the word sites or places, it caused me to have to divide them up. So I'm so sorry, but I'm going to try to pick this up here. So I have up here on this next one here, the true sovereign American people had their true and due educations kept from them, so DC'd, and worse, such said true educations were replaced with false and or incomplete educations, and then agendaed ones, customized to fit these Franks, Nazis, or, as I've already indicated, where they usually nest, the intelligence community, the central, starting from the central one out, but pretty much all of the intelligence community, or at least it has been until recently, likely in hopes to dumb the true American people down at their own, meaning the true American people's own expense, over generations. And we covered that just a little while before here, making it an easier supposed victory of a desired eventual drip by drip takeover of our own home country, the United States of America. I want to mention two quick things here before I continue on with the next thing here. Most of you out there know about the John Benet Ramsey case. That, to me, was nothing more than just a public clandestine communication to their own minions. If you look at the final word of that ransom note, and they told you who the patsy was, you'll see the same word, victory, and you'll see that it's used quite a bit in their public clandestinal communications, or PCC, I say. Also, I can get into that later too. Also, the word states, people, and the reason why I said a little while back that the statutes they're not laws, people, they're just opinions, believe it or not, but they're mainly codes for these perps. States is left out of there. And, I don't think it's a secret that you have to make sure you definitely know the prefix what con means. And I mean no disrespect from that, but the Constitution, I think it's no secret that it has been messed with as of now, and it doesn't seem like that the original one, as I've pretty much found from 3 different sources, is kept where most people think it is. It's in private homes, believe it or not, at least according to their own website, as of about a couple of years ago. Okay, states means yourself, people. It's the true American people, a state of being. Now, when you change that meaning, it changes everything, people. Not just from a business sense. You have to be a state of being, people, first, to conduct business. That's it. That's the way capital works. Or, reason why we say capitalism, that's what real capitalism is. Okay? A candy bar cannot take itself up to the register. You have to take it up there. When that happens, because of your prepaid privilege, reference HJR, or House Joint Resolution 192 of 1933, and that year is a doozy because that's when a very big apparent coup took place. And just before that, I think his name is Mr. Butler, Smedley Butler, they approached him to do the coup. He called it out and got reamed for it and faded away very quickly after that. Anyway, states, and then when you bring that candy bar up there, because of your prepaid privilege, you're supposed to have that credited first. And then you're supposed to have it debited. And what's the accounting term for that? Offset. It's supposed to be offset automatically. That's it. Well, who might you say is getting all of our credit? Do you know about the national debt? Number's been pretty big. The national debt. Did any of you ever ask or inquire about what happened to all the national credit? It's the same as the national debt, people. It's just that's how much that's been, perceptively stolen. Now, in resource language, that's the amount that has been stolen. Capital language, perceptively. All right, so please remember that. If I can go into that deeper as well at a later time. This runs long, I'm so sorry. But you need to look up the term split. And the dollar is a fallacy, it's a fantasy, it's a monopoly money, it's fake, people, I'm sorry. It's defined that way. I can't say it any different. So if you look at a term called a split dollar arrangement, well, you'll see that the debit goes one way, and because these perps have split fever, not mentioning what they did to your certificate of live birth, which they ended up stealing your wallet out of the cradle, but debit goes one way, credit goes the other. That's the split dollar arrangement for the dollar. Okay, so continuing on. However, until such a war invasion plan could be done, these perps infiltrating, impostering, occupying, subversive, clandestine, operating, high treason, treasonists would continue to steal the enterprise or business states because you're already defined as a state of being. Magically, it's left out of, well, all publications. Kind of lame for, I guess what would be law, or supposed to be law, I guess, but yeah, state of being is a state. E-states, or enterprise states, or estates, they're not just pieces of land with white picket fences around them. It's your lawful estate. It means it's your identity, your true American royal identity. It basically assigns you or gives you access to your own sovereign privileges, including your privilege of free trade. And I'll get into that later as well. And when I say free, I mean free trade. It's actually not free because all your ancestors did all this. Our own ancestors did all of this wonderful work that you've seen up till now and or heard about. But yeah, that's what real heritage and or what's also known as inheritance is, people. So yeah, that's what I mean by estates and or accounts, because again, I already mentioned that with your social security number and all that stuff. But they stole the use of it during your life. Okay, it's called usury. Impersonating the government is called usurpation. Usurpation, people. These things I'm telling you are under their own, because Franks are from the Rhine River Valley in Germany, or otherwise known as Nazis, right? From the Rhine River Valley in Germany. That's why some of these you'll hear referred to as rhinos. I'm sure it's getting familiar now. But basically these privileges that they've tried to keep secret from you and use themselves, that pretty much involving the offset, as I told you about, goes in and out of the United States for America Treasury Apartment. But magically they have department nowadays, and that means the exact opposite. Okay, people, I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to pick it up again. Okay, so what I have up here is, given these other facts, such as when you are born and via one's usual birthing foundational documents manufactured for you, basically they're manufactured for you by apparent psychopaths, whom also, as a group, USURP, I just went over that, they usurp or fake, impersonate the American government, and as an individual, usurp our own government officials. Or if you really know what your government is, people, you already do it. Govern comes from controlling via your own head, your own psyche, your own or mind, right? And then, meant, and that's controlling. So basically controlling your elections, controlling your choices, your free choices, right? That's what elections are. They're not held every 4 years. That's what elections are, people. You do it every day. And you do it by paying your own bills, only minus your automatic offsetting credit with your signature. Guess who always needs a signature from you? That's who's actually basically, you know what I mean. Let me see here. But what I mean up here is our own government officials. But you are your own government, people. Everyone individually, each and every true American, you run your own government. or elections. And in these usurpers, fakers, and they always say fake it till we make it, all that stuff, own converted psychopathic minds, meaning theirs. Because people, I don't know how much or if any, but if you come even, let's just say a hair's worth of, well, I guess it would be almost just about 17 years. That's almost 2 decades, people, for myself. Unwanted tricks and treats from these idiots. You will see that that's exactly what they are and nothing else. Just complete and pure psychopaths. The only difference is some of them are programmed. I mean, I hate to say it, people, but I get the true live version of it. I have no choice but to observe it every single day. And it's the result, if you look up MK Ultra, it's the result of that. The result of what is known as, I don't know if you look at that, but it's, you can say it, let's put it this way, you can say it different ways, but yeah, that's what MK Ultra is. It's the complete result of that. So they can program them just as they are. Alright, you are split into halves and half. In other words, your full name, certificate of live birth, not birth certificate, certificate of alive birth, half one. And then your free capital issuing privileges, this is the other half. Your free banking or / accounting privileges, your free access to your own estates, enterprise states, or business estates is what it is. You kind of call your county treasurer, ask them, what do you call your checks? They'll tell you, well, we call them warrants around here. They will. And, it's, but it has to be a business check. So, based on what I just told you, figure that one out. Enterprise, or business, states, or foundations. And your foundation is you. And automatic capital offset, or constant purchasing power. That's another one I'm going to stress on you. Look that up, people. Constant purchasing power. It's an accounting term. You can look it up in Britannica and accounting journals, or Wikipedia even has it. It'll explain it to you, and it explains exactly what the remedy is, and that's the remedy. That's the exact remedy. I don't want to harp too long on constant purchasing power, or CPP, or CPPA, which stands for accounting, either, people, but somewhere along the way, our accounting method clicked over to something invented, or the word is assumed, called historical, HCA, historical cost accounting. They're art historians, right? That's what they call themselves. Besides luminaries, they call themselves art historians. So don't get me started on Jan 6. Not the date. The art historian. Look it up. I'm giving you total 100% truth here, people. So there's no con. Every contract, people, is no good. It's a con. Okay? That's con men, con women. Rhine River Valley, Germany. Back to Egypt. Gypsies, grifters. Okay? Con men, con women, actors, actresses. Take your pick. Just look that up, but constant purchasing power. So it'll tell you why and what that remedy is, because when you click that back over the constant purchasing power, it no longer erodes the cost factor. They call it an index, a CPI, a consumer price index. That's the index that we actually use or should be using, but somebody clicked it over. Wonder who that might have been. Okay? Just look that up, constant purchasing power, and you'll get in parentheses accounting at the end of that probably. And then the last, what finalizes out or kind of rounds out this half, number 2, is it's worked in, the offsets are worked in and out of the living American sovereign treasury. That's our privileges, people, not theirs. And they're not supposed to be using it. So, which perceived half to you now, this is, I'm going back to your certificate of live birth here. Well, you get this piece of paper and you get your name. But all that other stuff kind of outweighs that, doesn't it? So I ask you again, which perceived half appears to you, in parentheses, as stolen? Perceivedly or actually? Take your pick. All right, people. So to get this thing moving here, I've taken way too much time, so I'm gonna have to bridge this stuff for you. But please take a moment to pause and read the page, if you don't mind, from this point anyway. At least I'll do my best to cover what the main points are. Up here on this one, I have, remember, these land grabbing want to control, meaning want to control people, because they're really not, but they're psychopaths, but for labor, which I've already said, Frank's Nazis intelligence community did this in what we know as World War I, World War II, and what appears to be back to, at least changing back to Civil War times and the birth of the country altogether. America and the world until recently, the process is and has been for almost a century, is one, you arrive, your natural birth on the land, and what I have under there, all of that, please read it if you don't mind, pause the screen, but it basically just mentions about your certificate of live birth and the way the prints work and everything. There's only one footprint there, people. Should really be a couple. Might want to find out, ask your doctor what path your certificate of live birth takes when you, before you get it. Kind of steals the wallet from you. It talks about how you're deemed lost at sea from 1666. That's back from England days. But you're a sovereign, you get your sovereignty based on those rules or those laws. So, yeah. And that's in the Articles of Confederation. Articles of Federation is what I said. And that's, you'll run into those in the previous ones if you saw the previous ones of these of mine. It also talks about how when you find out about claim, find out about a claim, your estate, enterprise state, business state, as I've just mentioned here previously, it talks about basically, well, then you end up, you discovered their treasonous, unauthorized use of your sovereign privileges. So, and when you do that, they want to end up blocking you. So please read that, and that's, pretty much I get a bird's eye, first-hand witnessing view of that, an observation point of that myself, here as of now. with this same blocking crew from such an intelligence community via what appears to be IRS, as it's known, for the past 7 years, which will be as of, I believe, May of 2026. Title 26, look at that. But initiated by such said intelligence community. And it talks about, how or what they've been stealing for almost a century. And I say stealing perceptively or actually for almost a century from the true American people. Please pause the screen if you need to, people, on this one and read all of it. And that would be a big help here time-wise here because I'm running way over here. So, all right, so continuing on here, people, this symbolizes a vertical split of your certificate of live birth. A certificate of live birth basically means they give you that piece of paper I was mentioning, and they steal your wallet at the cradle. They rob you at the cradle, basically. It's also got the resulting outcome is your certificate of live birth is witnessed by 2 to 3. It's usually got your natural birth mother signature on there, the doctor's signature as well. And when you go to claim your, it's known to be claim your enterprise state or E-state today. You're supposed to have 2 witnesses. It's already done. And that's one of their tricks, people. They, everything's already done. You don't have to do a thing. But they try so hard to make you believe different. That's one of the big tricks that they've been using for pretty much over a century. And, continuing on with number 1, that was A. So B, this is your wallet, people, your lifeline, your, reasonably luxury line, your both, that they've, perceptively or actually, stolen from you. It's your free trade, your free capital issuing checkbook that a particular intelligence community, all of them, apparently, appears to be using. That's why it's so loosely and readily available to be used. Today it's not money of account, it's simply accounts of offset. That's what they use your accounts for. Let me see here. I'm trying to very briefly summarize this too so that we don't run too much over here because I'm trying to get all this into one here. Which has full sovereign access to the U.S. American Treasury via each true sovereign's cesticate trust accounts, which you'll see in the Roman canon laws coming up here, and their 4 major trusts. They coincide with the. It's a 2 split, but they take the 2 halves and split those in half. They have split fever, remember? So there's basically 4 lots, and you can actually look at an overhead view of Vatican City, and you can see those 4 split lots. You'll see it. I think I actually demonstrated for you, or illustrated for you a little later on here in this presentation. So the true American people, resulting outcome, these Franks, Nazis, intelligence community, they're known today among themselves, apparently, because they like to, advertise it, but clandestinely, as the 5th Reich. And I have the individual breakdown numbers of those. But if you want to go from the 3rd Reich, which is what everybody knows is the Nazis' 3rd Reich, 4th Reich was about survivability from, when they got supposedly defeated, but definitely bombed the crap out of. And that was on many, many logs now as, subwoofing it, don't get me started on Hitler and, Wolf. But, yeah, apparently to Buenos Aires or Argentina, large Nazi contingency there, and then the Fifth Reich is what you're viewing now. That's why all these, the police, when you see police brutality and stuff, these are actually, they're warring on the American people, and they're doing it via civilian imposters uniforms. That's basically the way that works. With all blocking teams and associates, blocking teams is what's currently on me right now. Doing their best to block. I don't have to do anything. It's already mine. I can't give it to them even if I want it, because they don't get how it works. But to block myself from, my own sovereign signing privileges and all that stuff. Perceptively or non-perceptively, or actually. Stole, and as of this posting, which was, or when I made this, which was the 10th of April, 2026, posting's probably going to be a couple of weeks later after that, continued to steal, block such said American inheritance and or American estates to this day, a true living sovereign American's enterprise business account and automatic credit. Half, meaning that half of your, which I already covered, that half of your certificate of live birth. Okay, so people, so this first paragraph kind of just reiterates what I've already just kind of covered, and actually twice, I think. So please pause and read this first paragraph if you don't mind. I really appreciate it. It's very, it's very important. So I'm going to continue from number 2 here. This cross-cut that I just mentioned in their psychopathic minds, okay, is symbolized by a cut across the neck, or a DC, which completes the lateral, that means horizontal cross cut, according to the psychopaths, which takes the brains away from the body, meaning basically it zombifies you. And it's basically nothing more than holding back, knowledge that is already due to you. And all the thinking mechanisms for yourself. So now these perpetrators, feel that they can use, as in usury, your zombie body and zombie head for their labor, and to harvest you at the end of your life, basically, which is make you dead. Then they collect all prior monies made off of you, which they've been keeping away from you, hidden from you. Basically, what I've already kind of covered as your enterprise state, or your business state, or estate, estate, during your own life, which you should have been using yourself during your own life, or your lifestyle that you should be having or have had anyway. Thus, what they refer to as their, and this is grotesque and sick as hell, quote unquote, harvest. Alright, people, I want you to take a look at these two buildings right here. This is located in Washington, D.C., the Federal Trade Commission and the Securities and Exchange Commission. I know it's the FTC and the SEC. So people, these two buildings advertise on the outside of both of their buildings that at very least they handle legal and or supposed legal and or lawful, like financial, as its financial is known to mean, situations with, because if you with Roman canon law. Now if you look at the front of those seals on each of those buildings, they're the pretty much I think they're the only two actually that at least that's pertains to enterprise states and business states, E states, F states, barring the treasuries, golden key at the bottom of it, but I didn't put that on here. But anyway, the reason why I put these Roman numerals up here, as you can see that they advertise on the front of both of these buildings' seals, is a communication in itself, and they refer to, again, what I just referred to as Roman canon law. God damn, come on. The reason why, people, I said that it's a communication in itself is because it's Roman numerals that, again, like I said, refer to the Roman canon law. Canon law is pretty much, you could even say, since they want to go by laws of persuasion, another communicative law language, and they all know it, of what I know as the Praetorians, and now we're going back toward Rome, otherwise known as attorneys. And sad to say, the only other, linguistically speaking, name for attorneys is, lawyers, whatever. There's good ones, but then there's a lot of not good ones. They do this for legal. It's not lawful, not legal. Not the same as lawful, which is what you and I would both prefer, and basically you're only bound by. Truthfully speaking. And because these Praetorians use such Roman canon law internally amongst and between themselves, which also includes fellow Praetorians as well as occult members that follow this law. If you look in Vatican City, you'll see that attorneys have a kind of a home office there, a home bar office there, or what have you. Just ask one of them, they'll tell you. And the examples, as well as all the cult members under them. Examples would be the American Imposters, or AI, the real AI, Frank, which I've been referring to as Frank's Nazis, intelligence community, civilian soldiers, meaning impostoring civilians, but are actually civilian soldiers in this war effort on the true American people, as a, not just as of recent, but that, only until recently, was, I guess, realized in large numbers, I guess, who are also parasites and or blocking teams, most secretly. Again, those blocking teams trying to, once you find out about it or claim it, try to block your spending privileges of our own natural and industrial resources, and they try to block you from it once you find out about it. That means once you get your head back. So what I have up here now is I'm going to try to speed it up, people here. I'm so sorry. If used externally, which means to those outside of such said cult, or not on a type of selective service list. And you'd be surprised, people, that's basically what they're using, as is clearly apparent to me, is if you're on a selective service list, that means what I was mentioning earlier, cult, the real AI, American Imposters, cult, or Frank Nazi's intelligence community list, which, if you're on such a list, at least as up to recently, would, they steal our, estate privileges of, I don't know, ask your favorite escrow company, signing for homes, signing for automobiles. That's our privilege, people, not theirs. I'm just letting you know clearly. Servicing such said cult members, American imposters, war invading occupiers, civilian paramilitary identity, mask-wearing hostile enemy combatant units, groups, and etc. Then such Roman canon law is used in conjunction with statutes, codes and opinions, etc. as a type of law camouflage / mask, and having to deal with those outside of their secret war criminal cult, which they, Frank Nazi's intelligence community, call commercial. Just look at you'll get it. Or ex officio, called intercourse, meaning that when they have to deal with ourselves, the true American people or the American sovereign people, they call it law intercourse. What do they mean by intercourse? Well, that's where the Roman canon law comes in. Or enterprise business, the side they made, then perceptively stole. Your reasonable, and this is what they stole, is your reasonable inherited resource spending privileges, what I just briefly mentioned here earlier, as well as your capital issuing account or privileges, intercourse or law intercourse. But as long as you don't know about it, they don't have to use such law intercourse. They can depend on such statutes or codes, which are not technically laws. They're not laws. You ask any judge, they'll say, yeah, they're judges' opinions. Having to deal with you, someone who knows they are stealing using your estate inheritance. And that's what Roman canon law is for, and that's why they have those Roman numerals outside those particular two buildings only. If you look at it, you'll see them. They've got Roman numerals at the bottom. People often ask why that is. Well, I'm getting ready to tell you what those Roman canon laws are all about. Now, before I do that, people, I just want you to, however, or clearly remember that these Franks, Nazis, intelligence community, whatever, when they have, such law intercourse between, such a treasonous war cult that is definitely treasonous to this country anyway. Within the country, that's what I'm saying, whether they're not supposed to even be here, actually. They are bound by those, but these war criminal gypsies, con men, con women, actors, actresses, grifters, and so forth, and whatever else they pretend, because that's all they do. They're American imposters. That's the real AI, people. American imposters. And whatever else they pretend, that's what impostoring is all about. Again, the lawful term for that is usurping, the treasonous term. Usurping or usurpers pretend to be, even at the most rotten of cores, must, and you're getting ready to see why I'm telling you this, must obey and abide by such said Roman canons, because if they don't, they face the wrath of their own. Now, because they're all pretty much up for it right now, it's more about, saving their own ass, apparently, because that's all going down by the wayside right now. But they're supposed to do that or face their own wrath. So, people, this is what I mean. And I took the viewpoint of I am literally one of this country's principal executive officers, as well as principal residents, and know about it. So, and the reason I worded it like this was because, just in case there isn't one, wanted to make sure there was one. And this Article 100 you see on here is basically in the praetorians or attorney's language, makes it very clear of what they've been protecting and what they need to do. So, regarding the true American people's inheritance, their estate, enterprise states, business states, estates or estates, it is here and now, not hereby, because that's like a bypass. So it is here and now commanded that pertaining to Roman canon law 3.3 Article 100, and if you know about those numbers. Canon 2040, canons, actually 2045 through canons, or through canon 2045 through canon 2057, reveals the war criminal theft, reveals the false made up assumption. That's a big word, assumption, because they're going to claim that, oh, we just assumed. Sorry, I don't think so. Reveals the remedy for everything that they've taken away. Not just yourself, and people listen to me, don't ever limit it to just yourself. It's what they kept from your ancestors as well. Reveals the punishment for those whom disobey and or do not honor demands for and by, or specifically an inheritance's true owner. In other words, if the inheritance's true owner, and they are the owner of the true American people are the owners of their lawful and rightful inheritances, they actually end up only being, as far as trust, that's a bad word, but I mean, they actually only end up not being the grantor once, and that's from their own biological birth parents. However, every other time they are the owners, the donors, the beneficiaries, and everything that relates to their name, their own name that was given by their biological birth parents. So from the top of this page here, what I'm reading for you here, the true, rightful, and lawful estates, inheritances of the true American people all shall be released to them now with, I'm going to say, full access, or easements is what the praetorians call it, the attorneys call it. I'm going to add without further delay and without any other impedances or war criminal obstacles. Okay, people, so this is from the, just continuing on here, and I kind of already said some of this. This demand is directed toward the authentic guilty entity and or entities, and they know who they are. and any and all proxy assisting and or associative entities, and as I just briefly mentioned here just prior to this, and shall be executed and or expedited in the most efficient and quickest manner, and actions possible. The reason why I say actions also, they so like to fake intentions of words and intentionally mistake them as they're meant to be. So that's why I put actions possible in there with no delay in start of process, meaning now. Upon viewing this information, all notice and all such tasks, because when they invade your computer, that's what they call them. They call them tasks. They're scheduled tasks, usually tasks, which schedule them to go off and invade your computers and devices and all that stuff, so you can't use them, or it steals your files or makes copies or renders your devices useless. Done so, and continuing on, done so with best efforts, meaning not punching one key on the keyboard one day, another key, spell out a word in a week, that kind of stuff, and in the best interest for the true American people, and I will say, and or also the true American sovereign people, forward, up, front, and on point, meaning here and now. That's how I began the next line here. Here and now, April 13th, 2026. New system of dating. Just so there's no mistake, because I have this thing where they always want to throw the dates off. New system, old system, stretched out system, even from NS and OS, as April 13th, 2026, new system is known to be today. That's what is intended here. This is a command and an order, and I will say from a and I do this just in case there is not one, so that there is one, from a real, one of the many, because all of you are, all of the true American people are, that have not acted in efforts to harm this country, what is known as United States. That means people, states of being, United States of America, and or these American sovereign states, living states, united. So this is from a real, one of the many principal executive officers. You can put an S in parentheses there. Principal resident or president, because that's what it actually means. Principal resident means the live, living being that's a resident of these, what is known as but also known as United States of America today. And that's referring to the date that I just briefly went over just above there. Alright, people, my deepest apologies. As it turns out, I did run over, but if you could only see what I'm looking at, I ran way over. This one particular, like, 4 or 5 screen deal, or 4 or 5 screenshot deal, and about 15 minutes turned into 3 separate, because they've done so much, they, you know who I mean, they is, 3 separate particular presentations here. So I am so very sorry. But also, I'm going to let you know I don't beg for nothing. All right, but I am going to beg you, the true American people, I'm going to beg you to please view these next two parts. I got it down to 3 parts at least, because it's basically it covers your true sovereign American inheritance. That's your spending privileges, people. Your free trade. When I mean free trade, I mean that's exactly what it means. Somebody's been using it, and that's they. They've been using it, and they know exactly what it means. Just kept it from you, okay? So I'm going to beg you to please view these next 2 parts, and let me save you almost 17 years of pure torture and hell. Don't go through it like I did. Hopefully you won't have to from this point. But, yeah, please view these next 2 parts, because this is your whole life here. I put that as kind of a fun one down at the bottom, as I believe it comes from Rocky IV just before the last round. That's exactly where we are as this presentation is made and presented. So please view part 2 and part 3 of this Qrystal clearance, Power Stone, and Excalibur 2. I love each and every one of you. I couldn't love you anymore. God bless all of you, and please take care. Bye-bye.